thank you again for joining us for another edition of Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. I am your host, Nina Fletcher, and I am so happy to be with you today. I've been having quite a few questions, and one of them was, Nina, is pasta vegan? The short answer to that is it can be. A lot of your pastas include like eggs, so to speak, and sometimes some of them include dairy products, but there is a very inexpensive and easy way to make vegan pasta. So I decided to sort of mix the fall with the pasta situation, and so today we are going to be making vegan sweet potato pasta. Now see, this is my favorite because on another show, I'm going to be showing you how to fry your sweet potato pasta or your sweet potato ravioli. But for this one, we're just going to do the basic situation, okay? So let's get cracking. Let's get started. Let's look at our ingredients board. And of course, we always try to keep things as simple as possible. We have our roasted sweet potato, which answers another question that one of our viewers asked. Listen, roasting a sweet potato is like completely easy. You just put a little salt and pepper on the outside, a little bit of oil, right? Rub it, give it a little massage, throw it in there on 400 for about an hour, sometimes an hour and 20. And you want to roast it. You see all that going on right there? You want to roast it till all that caramelization starts coming out. Okay, now I will say this, there's a difference between sweet potatoes and yams. So just basically what I use is a yam because the inside is pink. Some sweet potatoes, the inside is white. That's not the one you want. You want the one where the inside is orange or red. So it's sort of considered a yam. Moving right along, we have our garlic, our shallots. You know, a lot of the ingredients are about the same. Our red onion and our red pepper, and surprise, we're going to be making some aioli or some pine nut aioli kind of situation. So I'm sorry, pesto. We're going to be making a pine nut kale pesto, so that's going to be really good, and hence our pine nuts. So I'm going to start with the filling first. Okay, so that's potentially very easy. Let's just use my trusty, I love metallic bowls. Seriously, the taste is raw. I love it. So we're going to take first our very soft, very sweet potato or yam. And it's still slightly warm and very sweet. Take that, put that right in your bowl. Both sides of it. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't found a creative way to use the skins yet, but once I do, I will certainly let you know, because I hate wasting things. So let's put that in there. See, flesh all that out, put it right in the bowl. Your next ingredient is going to be a little bit of garlic and a little bit of shallot. next ingredient is going to be just a little bit of red pepper. I literally just use that much just for a little bit of heat. That's it. Not a whole lot. And of course, sage. I'm sorry, this is thyme. Now, for our dried flavors, I have here a cinnamon stick. Now, you can use cinnamon powder if you want, but I happen to like the taste as it is microplaned in. So, a little cinnamon in there. Just run it over the microplaner. Watch your fingers. Give it some nice fresh cinnamon taste. Doesn't take much. Have just a little bit of Himalayan sea salt, a little bit of pepper, and at this point, I like to put in a little vegan cream. Coconut milk makes it a little bit interesting, but this right here is almond milk. Because I don't necessarily want the coconut milk with the other variation that I'm doing of the ravioli. So that sort of helps it mix together and stick together. And here is your super yum filling for your ravioli. Okay, so we're going to set that aside for a minute, and we're going to move on over to the food processor. Now, here again, I had somebody ask me about, oh, but I don't have a food processor. You can do this with a bowl and a spoon. It's absolutely fine, but let me tip you off to something. If you go to the thrift store, yes, I said the thrift or the consignment store, Goodwill, etc. They have food processors, old seasoned cast iron pans, everything for very, very reasonable prices. And you don't have to pay as much. Just a thought. So this right here, and remember I said you have to get to know some of your different kinds of flours. This is semolina flour. Semolina flour is basically a flour that's used in a lot of Italian pastas. It is vegan, okay? A lot of times they'll mix it with regular pasta flour, but today we're going to mix it with a little bit of organic white flour. And the measurement is probably 1.5 cups to 1/3. Like, you know, it'll be 1.5 cups semolina flour and maybe 1/3 of a cup of white flour. Okay. You're also going to use, and pardon me because I forgot to pull it out, but for this, I mean, you can use sea salt. It's okay. I'm choosing to use a mixture of both Himalayan for the taste and also sea salt for the quality. See, with the sea salt, it's finer, so it'll mix in a little bit better. So that's about 1 teaspoon. We'll throw that in there. Maybe a little more. I'm looking at it and I want a little bit more in there. Okay? And then, just a sprinkler too. That's for the taste. I don't want it to be grainy though. That's why I just do it for the taste. And let's see. There's something that, yes, One thing that I find some recipes try to omit is the olive oil. The olive oil is actually pretty important because it helps it to stick together because it is a vegan pasta. So you want to get a little bit of olive oil, and then you're going to have just a little bit of, this is warm tepid water. And when you're done, you're probably going to have maybe a good, I'd say 3/4 of a cup to put in there. Maybe. You have to do it by eye. So the first thing I do is I try to aerate it a little bit. Aerate the flour. Just need to mix it together just a little bit. Okay? And when you see your salt and your flours are combined, what you do is you start to pour in just a little bit of the water. Yeah. First you're going to pour in just a little bit of the water. Get it moving. Then pour in about a tablespoon. And now it looks sort of like rice grains, you notice? About a tablespoon. Start looking like rice grains. Start pouring in the rest of your water. And then it's going to start pulling to one side. And once it starts pulling to one side like that, you just keep it going. Perfect. Alright, so once your dough has started to pull all the way to one side in the food processor, you come out with a nice dough ball like this. Okay? And what you're going to do is pull that out. You're going to flour your surface just a little bit. Now, please don't get this mixed up with pie crust. With the pie crust, you're using ice cold water because you need it crispy, right? With this, you're using tepid or warm water because you need it to stretch. So, this, you're going to knead it just a little bit to pull it together. Excuse my kneading procedure if it's not formal. I do things just a little bit differently, and it works. All right, so once you have everything coming together in one solid mass, and it's a pretty firm stretchy dough, you go ahead and you start trying to roll it out. Now, some people use the pasta machine. Go right ahead. I'm not mad at you. But I learned it from a very old Sicilian woman, very long time ago. And she used a rolling pin. So ever since, you know, when I get ready to make pasta or do anything like that, I use a rolling pin. So put a little muscle into it, and you have a very nice dough. Now, at this point, I just want to mention to you, this is a very universal pasta dough. So you can like cut this thing in ribbons. And you have your fettuccine, right? Let it dry a little bit. You've got fettuccine dough, right? If you're the type of person that likes to square off their pasta like I do, you're actually creating more than one meal. Because I'll sit back and boil that too. And make a regular pasta dish. See? You set that off, let it dry. Regular pasta. All right. Let's get back with our filling. So at this point, that you want to take your filling that you just made, and maybe just a little tablespoon, right? I'll be honest with you. Some people cut the dough first. I don't. I just lay it there so I can sort of eye it up. And that might be the only variation that somebody else might fight me on. But I try to lay the filling there so I know exactly how big I want to make my circles. Okay? So that means, yep, I eyed it up just right. And you know what this is? I'm going to tell you the honest God truth. This is a ball jar top. It's not a cookie cutter. It is a small ball jar top that that I'm using basically to cut the circles in the pasta. And I just try to break it off just right. See? And then if it's a little bit over, I just move it over, kind of situation. Okay. That way it's easier for me to eye up the top piece. Okay, and what you do, now it's at this point, I did forget my little bit of water. Sorry about that. You try to get a little bit of water on your finger and seal it. Seal it closed. And again, this is not like the kale patty dough. This is different. It's a different kind of stretchy dough because you want to use warm water so that when it gets in the water, it doesn't burst open on you. You want to make sure you press down your edges. It's okay if some of the filling comes out the side just a little bit. Okay, and then what you do is you put it in a floured dish because you want to keep them dry. Okay, I'll do a couple more for you so you can see. Messy. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. We're going to cook it anyway. All right, so when you are finished, it is entirely up to you whether you want to stick them into the refrigerator or you want to go ahead and just put them into the water. Fresh dough tends to cook very, very quickly, so you got to watch them if you're putting them in there now. So I'm going to head over to the pot and pop them in and see what happens. So I'm at the pot, and this is where the fate lies. Hopefully they should stay closed. Boiling water. You want to make sure they're a little bit sparse so that they don't stick to each other. It should only be like maybe 3 to 4 minutes maybe, and then they should just float right on up to the top. So, we'll find out. In the meantime, let's move on to our next thing while I keep my eye on that. This is our sauce. So, we're going to, like with everything, I start with a cold pot. So, we're going to start with the cold pot. A little bit, about a tablespoon of olive oil. A garlic clove. Now, I don't like little pieces of garlic in my sauce, but I like the flavor. So, what I use is just smashed garlic because it's going to flavor the oil as it warms up. Okay? And I like to take just a little bit of sage and I'll rub it just a little bit. And also I'll drop that in the oil so that as it heats up, the flavor of the sage and the garlic will permeate. And this is sort of like, this sauce is going to be like a garlic butter sauce or the burnt butter sauce, except for, of course, we're not using any butter. very simple process. And our sauce is starting to sizzle at the same time. Everything's working well together. Little bit of organic white flour in the mix, creating somewhat of a roux. A little bit of almond milk. And then you just keep repeating the steps until it becomes just a little bit creamy. You have, yep, there it is. There's the roux piece. You don't want to burn the roux. Make sure you put in a little bit more almond or coconut milk. And it is at this point that you add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, mix, and our pasta is ready. And our ravioli held together. It is ready. It's floating at the top. They're beautiful. And the one that I thought was going to burst open did not. And we also have, oops, I'm going to let some of that moisture off of there. I didn't drain them, I guess. Make sure you drain them pretty good. I mean, they don't have to be totally dry, but you have your sweet potato pasta along with your sage, garlic, roux sauce. And I'm going to cut one open so you can see it. And I'm going to taste it so you can taste it too. Okay, and let me just move some of this out of the way. Generally, of course, because it's sweet potatoes, I go ahead and, where's my cinnamon stick? I know I just had it. See, I do stuff with the cinnamon sticks and I can't figure out what I did. But that's okay. I have yet an auxiliary cinnamon stick. So, I try to take a little cinnamon stick. And again, yes, because it's sweet potatoes. Maybe a little bit on top. And also because it's sweet potatoes, I will take a small handful of, you guessed it, chopped nuts. These are walnuts. You can use pecans if you want, but I like to throw this on. Just crumble them on top a little bit. Okay. Let's taste. Some of this stuff out of the way so you can see. Here we go. We're going for the taste. We're going in for the win. Oh, that looks so good in there, and it's holding together real nice. I want a piece with a little bit of everything. A little bit of sage, a little bit of Exactly. Very good. You have to try this. Now, generally, I'll make a little kale aioli or kale pesto to put on top. But I'll be honest with you, I can save that for another show because this doesn't need it. So, thank you for joining me for another edition of Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. I hope I have answered your questions sufficiently as to whether pasta can be vegan. It can.
Thank you for watching Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tune in next week when Nina takes on
cream of cauliflower soup
here on Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. It's the genius!